All right, what's good, potatoes? Trade recap, Friday, August 29th. We got quite a few stuff to go over today. I took 4 trades. Um, 2 losses, 2 break evens. I called it a day after the second loss because it wicked me out and then went right to my take profit. It is what it is. I also want to go over a trade after this one. It was a continuation short back down to previous day lows on ES. ES didn't sweep it out. And there was a bullish S&T going against that, so I'll go over that. And then I'll go over my risk management as well. So coming into the morning, I was originally leaning bearish on the day. Why? Well, what do we have going on? Why am I on the 3-minute? Let me just go to the 1-minute. What do we have going on, right? We had data highs right here at 8:30. We had this unfilled hourly above us. And then we had London and Asian just in case price would rip through this 1 hour for value gap, right? So what was going on pre-market? Well, we created a data high, but when data highs got created, we actually came into this 1 hour fair value gap on ES. So we had a 1 hour fair value gap SMT with ES. As you guys can see, data highs came up, took out the hourly fair value gap, and then this is the SMT line right here, and then obviously data highs. I can delete that because there's just some mad shit on my screen. So I wanted, even though we had a bearish SMT, NASDAQ still had a unfilled gap above us, okay? And we also had data highs as a target as well. So I wasn't anticipating price to go all the way up to the hourly. I just wanted to at least see data highs get hit. And if I enter this trade, okay, if ES take out data high first, I'll full close. Or if NASDAQ takes out data high first, cool, we won, right? So what made me enter this trade? Well, we had a slight accumulation zone right here. And then what do? We came down into what? We came down into this 15-minute fair value gap. We actually swept out these lows, creating an SMT at the time. I think on bar replay, it's not going to show the actual SMT, but we ended up coming and sweeping out the 845 lows, which was the entry point to the fair value gap. And then on ES, we created equal lows. So this is very fucking, what's the word, like, happens all the time on ES, right? This is very common that this shit happens. But if ES didn't sweep out this low and create equal lows, it's still an SMT. So we had an SMT with the fair value gap. Okay, NASDAQ was in a continuation model. We had a 15-minute fair value gap. We now had a 15-minute SMT. And we had data highs above us with an unfilled hourly. So we had clear targets above. So what did I do? Well, I went ahead and entered off of a, there was a 30-second inversion in here. And I didn't enter off that. I waited for the retap of the inversion. So I got tapped in with this candle right here, the actual candle closure. And then I got thrown into the trade. My stop loss was at the SMT low inside of the 15-minute fair value gap. Here's what it looks like. It was at these lows right here. Or technically these lows, sorry. And then we ended up getting a good push to the upside. Now we also had equal highs. So this is what I mean by like we had clear targets. Because if you guys look, I guess I can just do this. Oh, they got took out. You guys can see, right? Yeah, right here. I didn't need the indicator for that. But we had equal highs right here. So that was my break-even point. And then my final TP, or my only TP, was at fucking data highs. And as you guys can see, market open and we just started shitting the bed. We ended up inversing this 15-minute gap. Now, I was bearish on the day, but the reason I kept trying to gap bottle this shit was because we had so many bullish SMTs in our direction. And I learned from, I think it was the first L I took, completely my fault. Okay, and we'll go over that in a second. The second L, it was just unfortunate. And then the third trade we took, that was the second break even. It was a good play as well. So this next trade I'm about to show you guys, I fucked up. I'm not a robot. I'm not perfect. I fucked up and I'm willing to admit it. But look at my mistakes I made. Okay, so what do? We came down and we took out, well, it looks like shit like right here. But we took out these hourly lows and we took out these 30-minute lows. Okay, so let's go back down to the 1 minute. Let me get my indicator off because there's too many lines on the screen. So what do we end up doing? We end up coming down and creating an SMT, right? So here's our 30-minute lows. Here's our hourly lows over here. So, okay, we have bullish bias, or not bias, like I'm still overall bearish on the day, but we have bullish conviction. Why? Well, because we have all this LRL, right here. We have all this low resistance liquidity. We have these highs and we also have data highs. Okay, so there's targets above, also an unfilled hourly. Now I wasn't expecting price to go all the way up there, but what else did we have? We had this unfilled 5-minute right here, or actually this wasn't here yet. We had this unfilled 5-minute right here. That was my target, and there, I don't think there was a 15-minute. Yeah, there was no 15-minute. So this was the only target I was targeting was this 5-minute for value gap as a gap model play. Okay, high time frame SMTs, 30-minute hourly, and then look at this right here. We also have an SMT with these candles, okay? See this 940 low got took out by 941? This 940 low did not get taken out by 941 on ES, okay? So this is how I'm building bullish conviction for the time being. Overall, I'm still bearish, but I was expecting at least a retrace up into this 5-minute gap. What did we end up getting? I wanted to see a 1-minute closure. Didn't get it there. We got it here, okay? And then what happened with the next candle? I actually entered off of the retrace of this candle, so I got an entry point right here and got stopped out literally immediately, almost within like 15 seconds. Why? Because look what happened. And look what I failed to realize. What did we tap into? We tapped into a unfilled 3-minute gap when we inverted this 1-minute. Okay, so if we inverted this 1-minute without going up to that 3-minute gap, that 3-minute gap would have then became our break-even point. But I failed to realize A, we tapped it, and actually I failed to realize that 3-minute was there just overall. Okay, so that's completely on me. This loss is my fault and my fault only, not the markets. You guys understand? We had clear targets above, but what did I fail to realize? That this 3-minute was here. So if this candle closed, hypothetically, let's say this candle closed where this one did, okay, and the wick was only right here, that's fine. We can enter, stops at the SMT lows, and our break, we're gonna go quick break even, okay, quick break even. So shitty, pretty shitty break even point, but it would have saved us from this, right? I failed to realize we tapped that 3-minute, and I went back and I tried to figure out, okay, what did I do wrong here? Why did it reverse? That's the reason. And I felt so much more relieved that I figured out why I lost rather than just beating myself up that I lost, right? So what am I doing? I'm learning from my losses. This is what we did. It was like a sigh of relief, because when you fucking lose and you don't know why you lost, it's a shitty feeling, right? You're like, fuck, what am I doing wrong? How can I fix it? I don't even know where to start. But once you figure out why you lost, okay, we can look out for that next time, right? Exactly what I'm doing here. My fucking stomach's growling. So I got stopped out immediately. Whose fault was it? Mine. Completely mine. 100%. Okay? But what was our conviction, right? We had a 30-minute SMT, with an hourly SMT, with an internal SMT, and an unfilled 5-minute above us. It is what it is. It happens. I'm not a robot. So yeah, that's why we lost that trade. Price continued farther and farther down. What did we end up getting? We ended up getting a sweep of this 4-hour low. Okay. And where was ES? What low is that? LoeGpa? What low is that? It's this one. Okay, boom. After me fucking trying to find it with my blind ass eyes, I found it. Okay, so we have this hourly low right here, or this 4-hour low all the way to the left of us. Okay, that we do not sweep out. What do we do on NASDAQ? NASDAQ, we have this 4-hour low that we come and take out. Boom. We have a 4-hour SMT. What else are we in at this point? What else are we in? We're also inside of this hourly for value gap. Okay? Or no, sorry, this hourly for value gap. Dude, I'm all over the place right now. Okay, so we had a 4-hour SMT. We had a 1-hour for value gap. With that being said, we have an unfilled 5-minute above us. Okay, what am I looking for? I'm looking for a tap into that gap, right? So what did we end up getting? Well, we got a 30-second in this leg right here. I went ahead and entered off the 30-second. And where was my break-even point this time? Okay, this unfilled 3-minute gap. If we were truly bullish and going to retrace into this 5-minute, what should we have seen? We should have seen a flush through this 3-minute gap, right? The 3-minute gap should not have been even like respected at all. So that's why we're going break even there. Because if we tap it and reverse, probably going to get stopped out if we don't move stops, right? So as soon as we hit our break even point, move stops to break even, next candle got stopped out. Okay, 3 trades on the day so far, 1 loss, 2 break even. I wasn't looking to get into another one. However, I really fucking like this setup. Why? What did we end up doing? We came and swept out previous day lows. I know it looks confusing. Hold on. Boom. We come out and sweep out previous day lows. What did we do on ES? We edged the absolute shit out of them, right? So what do we have? We have a previous day low SMT. What is my common theme of today? What did I keep entering off of? And I also journaled this as well. Learn from your mistakes. I kept entering off of 30 seconds. My last 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. My last 9 trades. You want to hear what they are with 30 seconds? I'm done taking 30 seconds. 2 wins, 3 losses, and 4 break evens. Not the worst, but certainly not the fucking best. I have a much, much higher win rate when I stay between the 1 and 5 minute for value gaps. Okay? And what happened right here? I ended up losing because I took a 30 second. Well, okay, cool. We have a 5 minute right here as our break even point. Okay, boom. First, and then we're targeting this second 5 minute as our take profit. What ends up happening? We get a 30 second inversion in here. I enter off the retrace and tap of the 30 second with this candle. Boom, I get tapped in right here, stops at the SMT lows. Break even point at the 5 minute. Next candle, I get stopped out, and then we rip up. But what did the next candle also create? The next candle also created this miniature, like you got to zoom in for that shit. But it's a 1 minute gap, right? It's so small, but it's there, okay? We end up getting a 1 minute inversion with that gap, which is what? It's better than a 30 second. Why? Because higher time frame holds higher power, even on the smaller time frames. So enter off the inversion. Stops. If you didn't like that entry, you could have put your limit order at the inversion, and boom, you would have got tapped in with this candle right here. This is what your trade idea would have looked like. So if I was just patient, I guess you can say I was impatient with this trade, right? I tried to rush it with the 30 second, and it didn't end up playing out. But what ended up playing out? When we got a resweep, we got a 1 minute inversion, get tapped in. Okay, boom, what's going on? Oh, fuck. What did I just do? Oh, it's right here. And it ripped a TP immediately. What did I do wrong on this trade? Today wasn't a good Friday for me, but I know what I did wrong, so it's okay. I entered off a 30 second, right? We need 1 minute, okay? And I haven't even looked at my 30 second win rate until after today. After I got off, I went to my journal and I looked. Dude, 2 wins, 3 loss, 4 break even. I'm done taking 30 seconds. From now on, it's only 1 through 5 minutes. That's it. But look at this trade. 2.09, smack DP, basically 0 drawdown. And I ended up getting fucking stopped out. But right trade idea, right? After I seen that, I was done for the day. I called it. However, there was this trade right here. What ended up happening? Why was this trade valid? This trade was valid. The short was valid. Why? Well, because ES, first of all, even though I understand there's a bullish previous day low SMT, but what were we overall? We were extremely fucking bearish, and what did we create? Well, we created damn near equal fucking lows, okay? So if ES was up here and we started to come back up, then it wouldn't be valid, right? Because it would be a less of a draw on liquidity, right? There wouldn't be equal lows. But since we're building up this LR right here, along with previous day lows below, ES had a reason to go lower. And then what are we doing on NASDAQ? What do we have on NASDAQ? Was there an hourly? I don't think there was. No, there wasn't an hourly. But we were inside of a 15 minute, okay? So what do? We come inside of this 15 minute gap. Now, can someone, well, you guys aren't live, but why wasn't this 5 minute relevant, right? How come when we hit this 5 minute right here, these shorts weren't relevant? Because it was way too premium, right? So what do we want if we're going to take a premium ass fucking continuation model? At least have a 15 minute or above open up. 15 minute hourly, and probably not a 4 hour, but just a 15 minute or hourly, maybe even a 30 minute. Higher time frame, higher conviction, right? So a 15 minute opens up. What do? We come and tap into the 15 minute, and what do we get? We get a 2 minute inversion out of it. And why was this valid? Well, because we're respecting a 15 minute, okay? So we're respecting a bearish confluence, which is our condition. ES has damn near equal lows. And what does NASDAQ have? NASDAQ has all this LR right here. Now, if we were to enter off some bullshit like, say, this one right here, why wasn't this one valid? Why wasn't this 2-minute valid? Because we don't really have draws, right? We have this low that came and swept out previous day low. There's no real like liquidity lying there, right? Price has no reason to go to this low. But why would price have reason to go lower with this short? Because what are we building up right here? We built up all this low resistance liquidity, okay? Now, sure, if this 2-minute worked, it works and it runs without us. But you don't want to enter off this because there's nothing lower. We have previous day lows where there's a bullish S&P going against us, and we took out on NASDAQ, we took out the lows on NASDAQ. So price on NASDAQ has no reason to come down here. It does on ES because why? It created relatively equal lows. But there's no LR with this short right here. But there is with this one. So what can you do if you don't like this close? What can you do? Let's see. Let's go short. Here's your RR on this trade if you got the candle closure. And you can target this liquidity right here, LRL. Why are we not targeting all the way down here? Well, because NASDAQ doesn't have to come down here. Okay. So what do we have? We have a 1.44. However, you don't like that fucking idea. What can you do? You can set a limit order at the inversion. Boom. Now look at this. A 3.04. Way better. Okay. What does price end up doing? Bam. It actually ended up coming out and taking out these lows as well. But this, what was it? Yeah. It was just like 5-minute liquidity right here. That was a great draw. And we're rejecting the 15-minute. So I got a question in my Discord. That was one of them. The other one was, how do I go about risk management? Because I know 4 trades. I'd say I take 2 to 3 max a day. But why did I take 4 today? Well, because 2 of them were break even, so I didn't lose on them. And on the other loss I had, I was perfectly fine with the amount I lost. Okay, how much did I lose? I lost like $250 on each of my accounts. So I mean, add that up, it is what it is. But like on each of my accounts, $250 per account is not that much, right? So I was comfortable with entering another trade, and if I lost, okay, I was comfortable with that. Now, let's say I lost $600 on each of my accounts with that first trade, which actually I did on Top Step, and it's because I went in with 2 minis instead of 1, so I was kind of like, fuck, and I kind of got a worse fill. I did that on a fucking accident. It was pissed me off. So, but overall, how do I go about risk management? Well, I have a set amount every day that I'm willing to risk, and that amount is anywhere from like $600 to $800, or I give myself 2 losses. Okay, so if I take 3 trades and they're all break evens, if another A+ setup presents itself, I'll go ahead and enter. Why? Because I haven't lost yet. But 2 losses is my absolute max. I tend to only want to trade 3 times max a day. Let's say 1 1 and 1 win, 1 loss, 1 break even. But as soon as I have 2 losses, I'm done. Probably just have the wrong draw on liquidity. But I kept getting break even, and we didn't see a retracement. So this is why I kept trying to long. And what were our confluences? Well, we had bullish conviction, right? It's not like I was just entering emotionally. No, we kept having double SMTs with inversions. But today, I fucked up because why? The inversions weren't really valid because they were 30 seconds. And I can admit that, right? There's probably going to be some of you guys that watch this video like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's an L trader. I mean, I've had a pretty good fucking August. And you guys want to see my fucking Top Step? Like, it's not a bad August. I had a rough week, yes. But my August overall has been pretty fucking good. So, it is what it is. That's how I go about risk management, though. I tend to only risk 1 mini. I don't have a set dollar amount, but I have a set contract amount that I always risk. I just 1 mini every time. And my stop losses are typically from anywhere from like 15 to like 25, 30 points. So I know that in that area, I'm risking anywhere from like $300 to $600. I'm perfectly fine with that. Okay. So that's how I go about risk management. And I believe those were the only questions this short. And then, fucking the risk management. So yeah, with that being said, you guys enjoy your weekend. It wasn't the best of Fridays, but it is what it is. We'll be back Tuesday. We have a fuck ton of red folder news coming up on next week. No market open on Monday. So yeah, but with that being said, I'll catch y'all boys Sunday with a weekly recap.